This video was brought to you by the lovely members of my Patreon.
Their perspective could very well be that I'm a diva, that like, I just think I'm so much better than everybody else, that I just think that I am the hot, all that in a bag of chips. But what it really was I was on my brink of having a mental breakdown. Hey guys, it's Kat and it's time for another episode of True Tea. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me for yet another episode of True Tea. Thank you for checking in with me. You guys are here every single week, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I really appreciate that. I appreciate that you guys are always excited for a new brew, and thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here though, what we like to do on this channel, we like to learn, share, and grow through education and conversation. And True Tea is a thing that we do on this channel where we just sort of have these open conversations in a most raw and real way as possible. Sometimes we're right, sometimes we're wrong, but either way, we're honest. And that's kind of what this is all about, not having necessarily the right answer, but having the most honest answer as possible. So yeah, if you're into that sort of thing, I would highly suggest that you subscribe so you can get videos like this every single week, Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So now we're gonna be having a conversation about fake YouTubers. But before we do, I would highly suggest you go to your kitchen and grab yourself something to drink. Now, personally, I am drinking some green tea out of my True Tea mug. You guys know that I am moving soon, and I'm almost done with all of my tea, incidentally. I actually did not know that tea could go bad. I went and opened up some old tea bags and like they were all like moldy and like disintegrated. Did not know that tea could do that. I'm surprised every single time. I'm still learning to be a bit of a tea snob as I spill tea on the floor. But anyway, this is just good old classic Lipton. So anyway, let me know what's in your mug in the comment box below. Anyway, let's do a sip and then let's get into this tea. So I want to talk to you guys about this because this is something that's actually been on my mind a lot as I socialize and also as I change my YouTube channel a bit. You guys know that I kind of went through a bit of a rebranding on here, and really the sort of soul beneath the rebranding was that I wanted to be a more well-rounded YouTuber. I wanted to be a more well-rounded blogger. And in the past couple of months, I have told you guys some stories about myself and told you guys some things that I hadn't told you guys before. And I've been sharing very openly with you guys about some things that were kind of, I wouldn't say secret, but some things that I was uncomfortable sharing, right? But as I've been doing that, I also think that it is important to acknowledge that I haven't shared everything. And so what I kind of wanted to talk about was just sort of what it's like to be a YouTuber and sort of be in this weird position where you are sharing so much about your life. You're forming these parasocial relationships with your followers. And oftentimes those relationships, when the people actually meet you, may not be what the person had in their head, right? So here we go. So I've been a YouTuber since I was 15 years old, as a lot of you guys know. And I really had an interesting way of interacting with this platform. I mean, when I was younger, I used to just come home every day after school, turn on my camera and just post, whatever I said onto YouTube. YouTube was very different back then. It was not what it is today. It is not this big thing where you can be like a YouTuber. It was definitely like this sort of small platform where you could just, share videos with your friends. There was no real expectation of being famous or being known or even really having a lot of your videos shared and known. And if you've come to my talks, you've heard this story before, but when I was first coming on YouTube, I was basically really enjoying the fact that it was a platform that very few people knew about. So I had a lot of situations where I would come onto YouTube and talk about stuff that was really kind of, I don't know, like I just shared everything. TMI, just like totally went and told absolutely everything. Like if I had a problem with a girl at school, I would do a whole video about how I don't like her. If I had a problem with a teacher, I'd do a whole video about how I didn't like them. I was really, really passionate about just kind of coming and using this as like my public diary, right? And a lot of that was done with the idea that not a lot of people were watching, right? So in high school, I was was like a little popular or whatever. You know, I went to this weird school where it wasn't like the cool kids, you know, in other schools that were like the jocks and things like that. I went to a very academic school, so the people that were the popular kids were usually the kids that were really good in school and things like that. And not that I was a bad student, but you know, I was not one of the high performing IB students or whatever, but you know, I was one of the only Black kids and I was in theater. So, you know, I thought that when I was popular, it was because you know, maybe they saw my solo in, you know, Once Upon a Mattress, or maybe my solo in Fiddler on the Roof, or maybe my solo in Beauty and the Beast, or, you know, maybe my solo in Hello Dolly. You know, I thought that's why I was popular, but it turns out that literally everyone at my school was watching my YouTube videos. And of course I cringed because I was talking shit. I was being really open and raw and real with people. And I was like, okay, that's why this girl doesn't like me anymore. She saw this like 20-minute video that I made about her. That's, you know, that's why, you know. But, you know, by the time I graduated, I was already, you know, ready to leave this all behind, right? So I went to college, right? And my college experience was very much the same. I still maintained a blog, and I was raised very straight edge. I was raised very conservative. And when I went away to art school where they were doing, you know, smoking the reefer and all that stuff and drinking the alcohol, you know, I had my reactions. And I remember one of my first blogs in school was about how, you know, all of these women who are drinking and smoking are just a bunch of loose whores, basically. I was real sex negative back then, and real anti-drug and things like that. I was raised very Christian. And, you know, of course, people at the school, you know, I didn't have that sort of same situation where no one said anything. People were actually watching my videos in college, and that caused a lot of issues with my friend group, obviously. And so I kind of started to recognize that the stuff that I post online can impact me negatively in my real life, right? And so it became really clear to me that when it came to being a YouTuber, when it came to being online, I had to be very careful about what I shared about my personal life as to not hurt people in my actual life, but also I had to sort of maintain and, you know, project an image that people would not only want to subscribe to and would like, but also wasn't as, I guess, offensive in the way that I guess I was previously, right? And so I started to present an image. And of course, after I graduated college and I got into this monogamous heterosexual relationship, I just wanted nothing more than to be, you know, Miss Goody Two-Shoes who doesn't do anything like that. Now, obviously with the rebrand that I've been going on with this channel, we've been talking about BDSM, we've been talking about trauma, we've been talking about swinger parties, we've talked about all of this stuff, all of these things that are very out there and open. And that's because after years of sort of maintaining an image of, you know, Miss Goody Two-Shoes who doesn't even do anything like that, I wanted to come back with a more truthful, realistic version of myself where I wasn't pretending that I didn't do certain things. I wasn't pretending that I was too good for certain things. I was just being real, right? But the thing is, even in this sort of current phase that we're in right now, I'm being real, but I'm not telling you everything. You'll notice that I might share things about my life, but I still keep them vague enough to where you wouldn't really know who I'm talking about or where I go or what I'm doing. You know a lot about me, but not everything about me. And obviously when I make videos like this, I do it with there's a certain thing behind me. You know, one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video is weeks ago, I made a video about the word cis, right? The prefix cis. And sometimes on my community page, I will post like comments and things, and you know, I don't want to make this whole video about this, but for me, people who get offended by the word cis, like I understand why some people do, but frankly, I do find it to be really fragile and silly. And so I do sometimes enjoy, as a joke, calling these people sissies and this, you know, because they think that that's what we're saying. So, you know, if you're going to be offended, why not, you know? And I do kind of have that weird sort of edgelordy sense of humor, you know, like I find humor in a lot of really terrible things, which is partially why I try to suppress some of my sense of humor on here because I don't want to offend people. But somebody left a comment when they saw me share that. They were like, you know, I thought that you were a positive, uplifting person. I can't believe you're saying this. I can't believe you're saying that. Da 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 da. How dare you? Da 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 da. Unsubscribed. You know, that sort of thing. And it was really interesting because I realized that if you just watch these videos where I'm like, hey guys, it's Kat and it's time for another episode of True Tea, and I'm just being very positive and uplifting, you wouldn't really see that other side of me. But one of the things that I'm trying to communicate to you guys through this series is that I'm a multifaceted human being. I have a lot of thoughts that are, contrasted and contradicting and things like that. And that's just part of me being me. One of the things I got really tired of doing, before I sort of did this rebrand was maintaining the narrative, maintaining the image. I'm not really that invested in that. Now, of course, with my platform, I would like to not do harm. I would like to not hurt people or put out damaging things. That's something I think about all the time, right? At the same time though, one of the things I got tired of doing was pretending that I had all the answers or pretending that I was just right about everything, because I'm not. That's part of why whenever I start this series out, I always say sometimes we're right, sometimes we're wrong, but either way it's honest, because I think that there's something really beautiful in that. I think that there's something really beautiful in just understanding that you don't have the answers, you don't know everything, you might be right, you might be wrong, but either way you're open to understanding that, you're open to acknowledging that, right? So, that's sort of the soul beneath this. Now, throughout the years, I've seen a lot of people respond to YouTubers. So being a YouTuber, right? You sometimes you build a parasocial relationship. A lot of people, because of just the way I think some people socialize these days, like a lot of people may have in their head longer and more intimate relationships with people that they watch on YouTube than the friends that they have in their real life, right? And so you have this sort of thing where you in your mind have developed this friendship with this person on the internet, this friendship with this person online. And so when you meet them in person, you've got your narrative of them. You've got your version of them. And all too often I've seen stories online of people walking up to people, YouTubers, etc., and expecting them to act one way and being devastated that they didn't act that way, right? Being absolutely devastated. And I'll be honest, guys, I'm still going through my feelings of having even the little modicum of fame that I have, because frankly, I've never really been comfortable with it. Some of you guys know that I have historically tried my hardest to sabotage my platform. I've tried my hardest not to be known on YouTube because it's always been something that's made me very, 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 very uncomfortable. It makes me incredibly uncomfortable to be in positions where people know of me before I know them, right? And so, I don't really respond that well to people who walk up to me when I'm out and about and they're like, oh my gosh, it's Kat, oh my God, I love you. I don't know how to react to that. And one of the things I think about a lot is when people have those reactions to me, because I have that internal monologue with myself, that I might project myself in a way that could be read as being upset or being fake or being bitchy. Cause I have this thing sometimes when people recognize me, right? Like I remember I was walking out of this orgy party that I was going to, right? I run into a lot of people at, these sort of sex positive parties that I go to all the time, right? And I walk out and there's this girl and she's like, oh my gosh, I love you. Oh, you're so amazing. You're so great. You changed my life. That's usually what people say to me when they run into me. And I was just kind of there with my friends, some of them who didn't even know that I was trans, as a side note and things like that. And she's just having this total fangirl moment. And I don't think I'm a big deal, so I don't really know how to react to that just on that level. But she's having this total fangirl moment. And I have this thing when I interact with people like that where I tell my face to smile and to nod, even if I'm in a miserable mood, right? I tell my face to smile and nod and engage, because I don't want the person who's excited with me to have a bad experience with me and then to translate that as them, me being a bitch, right? Me being fake, right? That's what YouTubers get accused of being, is fake all the time, right? And it's really sort of frustrating to be called fake, because the thing about it is right now, okay, I'm in my apartment, surrounded by lights, alone. No one's here. In fact, one of the reasons why I don't have a roommate is because when I have someone in my space while I'm filming, it makes me really anxious. It makes me really anxious. The way that I'm projecting myself right now, when I'm alone with no one around me in my room, is very different than how I interact with people when I'm out and about. It's a very different way of interacting. So you're getting an energy where yes, I'm engaging with you. Yes, I'm talking to you. Yes, we are having this sort of thing to inspire a conversation. But at the end of the day, I'm still alone in my room, and this is my energy there. My energy when I'm out and about at a party is gonna be super different, you know? And I've had a lot of situations where people have tried to get me to have these just really long, in-depth conversations with them when I'm out and about. And bitch, if I'm outside of my house, especially if I'm at a bar, boy, do I not want to have a conversation. I remember I was in Merced, California, and I went into this karaoke bar. If you know Merced, you probably know exactly the bar I'm talking about because there's really only one. And this woman was there, and you know, the first thing she says to me was, "Oh my gosh, I recognize you. I disagree with everything that you say, but I still think you're cool." Right now, bitch, I'm literally I came out to have a good time and I'm feeling really attacked right now, right? But I ended up spending most of my night talking to her, and she wasn't like a bad person or anything like that, but she was this sort of person who was Native American, Black, and did all these other things, all these complicated things, but looked white, looked like a white girl, right? And she really wanted to have a conversation with me about how shitty it is for me to have the positions that I have about white privilege, because while she is white passing and she deals with rejection from both sides. The whole sort of mixed person sort of story, that sort of story, right? And I'm dead ass sitting there like, I just would like to drink and do karaoke tonight. Like, that's kind of why I came out. I didn't really come out to have this long ass conversation. We ended up talking all night long. By the end of the night, she was in tears. This girl started crying, and like dead ass, like I just didn't know how to react. I didn't know how to react. Like, I was not gonna sit there and kind of apologize for my stance against white supremacy because of her mixed girl experience. You know what I mean? It just wasn't, that's just not what we're gonna do here. But she just started crying. It was just so weird because the energy, she has this relationship with me that I don't have with her, right? But of course, we're expected to be on, we're expected to be engaged, we're expected to be passionate about these things in real life in the way that we are online, which of course I am passionate about those things on, you know, my real life and my day-to-day. But like, again, when I'm going to a bar or a club or an event, I'm not there to interact with the space in that way. I'm there to enjoy my evening. You know what I mean? So, you know, I want to talk about that because for me, it is a little frustrating to like listen to all these people talk about their experiences with influencers. And a lot of those experiences are, you know, she was really rude to me at the meet and greet and da-da-da-da. And honestly, often rude is just them not reacting the way that they wanted them to react, you know? Like, I remember there was a time, oh my gosh, like a couple of years ago at VidCon, I was having I never really had a panic attack, but I experienced a panic attack for the first time. I was so overwhelmed by the whole process of registration. I was running around everywhere. I just literally was having a fucking panic attack. And this kid walks up to me, this little kid, this not little kid, I mean kid as in like probably a teenager, maybe early 20s, right? Walks up to me and is so fucking excited to see me, but I'm having a panic attack. And so my reaction when this person walked up to me was to throw my hand up and say, no, right? And it's weird because I kind of recognized in that moment that this kid probably thinks that I'm a bitch now. This kid probably thinks that I'm an asshole because instead of responding to that excited energy, I threw my hands up and walked away. That's what they're seeing. They're seeing me just be so frustrated and so annoyed that I just threw my hands and walked away. Their perspective could very well be that I'm a diva, that like, I just think I'm so much better than everybody else, that I just think that I am the hot, you know, all that in a bag of chips. But what it really was I was on my brink of having a fucking mental breakdown. That's what it really was. I was overwhelmed, I was overstressed, I was dealing with all this other shit that was going on at VidCon at the time. I literally could not handle it. I could not deal with it, right? And so I threw my hands up. Now, fortunately, that kid was really cool and understood everything that I was going through, but various other people could have that experience with me and think that I'm just a bitch. And frankly, when I go out and about, you know, and people do run into me, especially like depending on my level of sobriety, I might be very willing to engage or just completely unwilling to engage, you know? And I don't really like to have to navigate around that. Like, well, this person's gonna think I'm a bitch now. They're gonna make a video about their time where they confronted me at a da-da-da-da, we had a I don't wanna have to deal with that because I'm a fucking human being too. And I think that some people forget that. Some people forget that I'm not just this person who exists in this one narrow way on the internet. I am a full person who has my own issues, my own struggles, my own pain, and that should be respected. That should be respected. I don't live to entertain you. You get to click onto me whenever you want, right? You get to engage with me whenever you want. And obviously when you're engaging with me in the way that you are now, you're engaging within a very curated version of me. Am I happy to see you? Absolutely. Am I happy that you're here? Totally. But this is me in this moment of filming this video right now. That's what you're engaging in. When I'm out and about and I'm dealing with all these other things and I'm trying to do this and I'm trying to do that, I might not be able to get the energy that you would like, right? So I kind of want people to just think about that a little bit when they interact with their favorite YouTubers, because I see so many stories that, you know, can be boiled down to like, this person thinks they're a diva because they didn't give me the time or the energy or the attention that I think they should have because I've been supporting them for so long, And it's like, girl, they don't know you. They do not know you. There are some people who are my supporters who I see at a lot of events. I see at a lot of things. I'm genuinely happy and excited to see them because I know that they've been supporting me for so long. Shout out to Vinny. Vinny came to my meetup at VidCon. I also saw Vinny when I was doing a speech down in Massachusetts. Shout out to Vinny. So, you know, there's other people, there's people that I see often in certain places, and we do have more of a sort of friendship because I do know them. I have gotten to know you. But I think some people do need the reminder that while you might have built this sort of parasocial relationship with someone, they don't know who you are. So just keep that in mind when you walk up to these YouTubers. So anyway, I'm really curious to know what you guys think about parasocial relationships and the sort of stuff that you've sort of seen when people walk up to people expecting one sort of reaction and getting another. I remember one thing that happened was Patrick Starr like didn't want to take a photo with someone or was in a bad, I don't remember the entire thing, but I remember thinking about it at the time, it was like Patrick Starr probably was just in a bad moment and didn't react with you the way that you wanted them to. Now, Patrick Starr, I feel like I've had weird interactions with Patrick Starr, but for all I know, you know, he's fine. I don't know. I definitely have a respect for people in their sort of space, especially at big events, because these events are exhausting. Like, girl, I'm not even that well known, but VidCon is very, very exhausting for me. It is a very, very, very exhausting event for me. I'm gonna be there next year, by the way, so you guys should come. But yeah, it's a very exhausting event, and so sometimes it's just too much. Sometimes it's just way too goddamn much, you know? So sometimes we can't always jump up and, you know, be what you want us to be in that moment. So anyway, if you made it through this entire video, put this emoji in the comment section. Thank you guys for doing the emojis. I really do appreciate that. And yeah, I guess at this point I can say goodbye. Right now you are looking at 2 videos that you can watch if you would like to continue to watch True Tea on this channel. And in the corner there are various ways for you to send me a tip if you would like to. Like I said earlier in this video, I am moving right now. I could really use some help and you know, through tips and things like that. So yeah, anyway, I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Bye.